We are live.
What's up, everybody? This is StoryHive on location in Duncan with beats, eats, and more. That's nice. We're broadcasting live right now from the Cowichan Valley on the unceded ancestral lands of the Cowichan First Nations. Utmost love and gratitude and respect to the original stewards and protectors of these lands. I'm so stoked to be back in Duncan. I was here maybe a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, and reconnected with the one, the only, if you don't recognize this man's face, Longevity John, a passionate music lover, community builder, and the driving force behind the Duncan Showroom, which is where we are right now, and the iconic 39 Days of July Music Festival. Known as a pillar of Vancouver Island's music community, John has championed countless artists and built a space where creativity thrives. His vision and passion helped shape Duncan into a cultural hub with a festival and venue that bring people together through the power of music. Today we get to meet the man, the myth, the legend, Longevity, aka Lordgevity John.
Yes, I like that Lordgevity. I like that Lordgevity.
A proper handshake. You were just about to get into how your title shifted from longevity to Lordgevity.
Well, very quickly, it started out years ago.
Yes.
I was working and hanging out with Willie P. Bennett, and through that I got to meet Pat Temple.
Yes.
And I was back east in Toronto hanging out with him, and I was known as Long John, the leather worker, like Long John mostly. So a few people started asking me if Long John, is your last name Baldry, or do you play blues guitar? And I go, no, I'm wrong, John Baldry. You know, that went over their heads. So Pat came up with this great moniker, Longevity John. You can call him Long for short, but you can't call him short for long.
That's it.
So I like that. So that's what it's been for, since '91. And after a while, you get so used to having that. I've taken ownership of longevity. But someone pointed something out just a while ago, that longevity, it's only got one G. So we've been grammatically saying it incorrectly. It's actually longevity or longevity.
Yes.
Right? So we figured out a way to solve the problem this year with the 39 Days of July.
Okay.
Back in January, I received the King Charles III Coronation Medal for my work in the community. Me and 29,999 other Canadians. Odds are still good.
Yeah.
I'll accept that.
A couple million people.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah. But we were all given awards and medals for what we've done in our communities, which is great because none of the people who received it were ever thinking that we're going to get awarded for it. We just all do our jobs and what we feel the community needs. So that was great to get that award. But what we're testing the waters with now is, instead of longevity, Lordgevity. Yes. And you know what? At the festival, I've been asking, and people are willing. They smile. We get a chuckle out of it. But some of them still are now starting to call me Lordgevity John.
I mean, when you get a medal.
Wait, when you get a medal, and then just it's in the paper today. By the way, our local paper, The Citizen, that I received the Paul Harris Fellowship Award from the Rotarians, which is given to non-Rotarians for their work in the community and making a better and safer world and more. Anyway, it's a really nice thing that they say. And I think it's a real honor for as an arts and cultural representative to be sitting at the table with the Rotarians who are predominantly businessmen. Right? The dollar, that's where they go. And you have to make sense of that part before you can. But in their conversations, it's helped me recently because it's elevated me to a place where now I have more, the audience is broader and more influential. They'll listen.
Yes.
So for the arts and cultural community, hurrah!
Hurrah! John, that's amazing. I would love to hear about, early beginnings, like starting with the moment, your earliest memory when music really just hit you in the soul and you knew you loved it.
Well, my mother was 17 when she had me. And
was this here?
This was in Smiths Falls, Ontario, and she became single at the age of 19. So I grew up as a young man with her, kind of like I was the man in the family.
Right.
So in 1956 or 57, I think it's 57, in April, I believe it was, she took me with her to go see Elvis Presley. in Ottawa. His only, his one performance there. So I remember being there, but I listened to all the records that she did. So I was following her, as every child does, right? We don't realize to what extent that people, like we just found out half an hour ago that Ozzy Osbourne died.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So and now I go back to that and I go, I wasn't a fan of his per se. I knew he existed, but what an impact.
Yes.
Those kind of people have on the generation. So Elvis was big to me. We always wanted to pretend we were Elvis growing up. I got to see, I got to try to remember the name of the movie. I love getting old, you can forget things. There was a movie that took place in the early 60s, of which James Brown was in, where that famous, he walks out, he sings, and they put a cape on him, and he walks off, and then he stops, and he comes back, and he comes back, and he comes back. There were so many bands that were on that show. I got to see that. I grew up in the 60s as a teenager, so when the Beatles came over, and we all listened to AM radio. All our lives depended upon what the next music we listened to. You could see people go off in one direction, people in others, right? So at an early age, music stayed a part of me. My new father, when I was 10, was involved in radio.
Oh, cool.
So I had access to, or a bit more knowledge as radio went on, and a lot of those tester ones that they send out, right? And they don't necessarily go anywhere, but I got to hear them all. So I got to hear a lot of original music.
Wow.
And therefore my penchant, even in my younger years, was I always went to the B-side of a record.
Oh, yes.
I knew what the hit was, but I wanted to see what the flip side was, to see who they were. So that's always been that I can start, now we're talking about it, I can see that start to happen, where that's where the focus started branching out into more original. I've always had great record collections. I've had a couple split ups in my life where you can have everything but the record collection. Mine.
Yes.
Wow. And there was a time too when I had to actually leave. I was leaving Ottawa and I couldn't take a bunch with me. So a young musician who's quite a composer now, living in Montreal, bought a bunch of them, and then I said, well, here, you can have the whole rest too. So I have a diverse appetite. Did
you ever learn any instruments?
Took up saxophone, alto saxophone in school.
Yeah.
And that was interesting. Did well, but I wasn't a team player.
Yeah. Couldn't do a band?
Well, that's the thing, it was an orchestra and it was great, but I just couldn't quite, I never realized about the whole thing, right, as a unit. So having been raised as a single parent child, at that time in the early 50s, there wasn't a lot of that going on. And being a French Canadian in an English town, Jean-Claude Richet, that was cool.
How about DJing? You don't need a team for that. You get to play anything from your record collection. Oh,
that's what it was. It's funny because I caught myself doing that at parties. I'd be constantly changing, going into the next mode. But I never got involved in that. I never went that way because I was a leather worker by trade, right? Yes. So that allowed me to travel wherever I wanted to go, just with a bare minimum of tools, and make whatever I needed to live on, right? And
is that where this comes from?
Well, the headband, the whole idea of the headband is it keeps my hair out of my eyes. I did get an opportunity to live in Lethbridge, Alberta, for some years back in the would have been in the mid '70s, and most of the '70s. And it's very windy there, right? And either you braid your hair if you got long hair, so that it doesn't get in your eyes, or you wear something to keep the hair out. So both me and my sound man Ted, people think we're a cult because there's been
I was gonna ask,
no,
like there's like a secret club going on around here. They got the leather bands.
Well, even young Malachi, that young performer, he wears one because he earned it. We started using it as well. If you're part of the 39 Days of July, you get one. And Yeah, now it's come into something else, right?
Yeah.
And all it is a strip of leather. It's not like it's made anything fancy.
Yeah.
Although, you know, that was more what I would do.
Yeah. So how did you end up here then?
Eventually.
Eventually.
Well, as it goes,
Yeah.
I'd been out here in late 70s, 78, 79, 80. Made a bet with a guy. I bought a car off him for $100. And I said that I could get it to Ontario and back for on a $100 bet. And I would have made it back, but I ended up selling it in Ontario. But me and my dog and 2 other people got it, and we went for a journey in 1980, and it took me 8 years to get back here.
Oh my gosh.
But it was a great journey.
Yeah.
Along the way, I had another family. Opened up a leather shop in Ottawa. I really enjoyed the Ottawa scene. Then came that wonderful moment in my life, and I say a wonderful moment in my life, when I realized that alcohol wasn't going to play a part of my life anymore. And that I was going to try and do my best to, I'd reached its end. You know, I don't just, it happened, can't stop it, can't change it, but there came a point in time when I had to make a decision. If I was going to go any further, I had to make it.
Let it go.
Let it go. And that also meant that the family split up because it wasn't the person that the person had gotten together with. Because
Right.
I didn't really change a lot, but you know, there's just the drinking wasn't part of it. And there was a whole bunch of discovery and all that. So I came out here 2 years sober to a town called Duncan, which his nickname has been for years, Drunken Duncan. But, very quick story. Can I tell a story about this?
Tell all
Okay.
the stories.
I live in a town called Duncan. And in Duncan, there's a short street, maybe 3 blocks long, called Trunk Road. And it joins up perpendicular to Duncan Street. Now, years ago, when this was an older town, there were 3 bars in town. There was a Zuhalem on one side of the street, on the corner. Then there was the commercial partway down on Duncan Street. There was a railway tracks down the middle, so there was a pathway that went between the 2 bars. And then there was the Alder Lea, which is now where the car wash is, and it was just up around the corner. Now, when I would go to Victoria when I first came out here, where's the action? Well, it could be at Douglas and Fort. There were bars down there, right?
Right.
Or it would be Government and Yates. You get to the Kings and all those ones down there. Right? So which bar, you know, which area depended upon, and any community, like where's the action, right?
Right.
So here I am opening up the Duncan Showroom and discovering that, where's your business? Well, I'm at the corner of Trunk and Duncan. So I'm not sure which came first, the name or the reputation. Because even though there's 5 or 6 breweries in this valley that serve, that make award-winning beer, Lucky's still the largest selling beer in the valley, and on the island, they sell more here in the valley. So it's sort of like a rite of passage. You know, you're supposed to do that, and then once you've done it, either you change it and get out of your life or not. It's interesting because I saw a guy just in the park just recently, just today, who he said, "Do you remember me?" And I said, "Kinda." And he had lost a lot of weight, and he had ended up through drugs and through fentanyl and all that stuff, ending up in Vancouver on Hastings and down in the main area, and had a penchant for stealing cars.
Wow.
But got caught and spent a year in jail and went through sort of a forced sobriety, but then started finding out that it was good. And he came to say hi to me today. And what a difference in that person.
Wow.
Right, who's now, even though, you know, when I was there, it was okay. I lived it, I breathed it, it was okay.
Yeah.
But there's this other part, which is really interesting too, and it's almost like in the old days on the BC ferries, right, there was a non-smoking section.
Yeah.
Right? And every so often I'd go sit in the non-smoking section, even though I smoked cigarettes,
Yes.
just to hang out in that because I didn't want the smoke or
Yeah.
whatever, right? Well, I always felt like I was an alien.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time when I'd actually quit smoking cigarettes and walked and sat in that area and felt, I have a right to be here. You know, like it's a little trick that we do on ourselves, right? So anyway, I came to Duncan, found a little cabin for $75 a month.
Wow.
2 bedrooms, living room with a fireplace, no running water, no electricity, 7 different kinds, on 3.6 acres with 7 different apple trees, hazelnut groves, 3 different peach trees, plum trees.
Oh my.
Right across the street and down the road from the river was the nudie pools where the river came down. You could just go hang out there. Like I was in heaven. So for the first while, I was able to. It helped me find my sobriety, right? But I figured out a way to get power by running extension cords to different neighbors.
Yeah.
Right. I always had to have music because I had my shop there, so I always listened to music. And through records, I was just telling someone the story the other day. I saw a record, a deleted one here in Duncan, where it actually has the plastic still on it.
Yeah.
The saran wrap, but the hole in the top corner, right? And it was called Five and Dime, and it was a girl called Nancy Griffith, right? But in the background of the store, sort of sitting back in that little alcove, there was this other figure just sort of standing there, and it was Lyle Lovett.
Okay.
And I went, wow, I'm a big Lyle Lovett fan. Who is this Nancy Griffith girl? I don't know, but she's connected.
Yeah.
And I remember getting that album, taking it home and putting it on the record player. And from the moment I first heard it, I must have played it for like 72 hours straight. I couldn't get enough of it. And so that luxury of having a rent of $75 a month and trying to find yourself again, because I was at that point 30. I was 36 when I sobered up. So into my 40s and stuff like that. It was refining who I was, but listening to the music. And because I had an opportunity to meet Willie P. Bennett years ago.
Yes.
Right,
For anyone who doesn't know who Willie P.
Willie
Bennett
P. Bennett's a great singer-songwriter who's passed away now. But all I can say is venture into his social media, find out the songs that he wrote, listen to them. Each and every one of those songs will move you to some degree. A fine, fine lad he was. I got to work with him. I got to drive car with him for a couple tours, be his pal.
Wow.
I had sobered up at that point, and he was still dealt with that through Pat Temple, who was his other good friend, Pat Temple. We sort of were a little bit of a trio and hanging out and just staying in touch with each other. Right? And I remember when Willie phoned me from the hospital saying, any rumor that you heard I may have had a heart attack and died is wrong, I'm still alive. And then he told me some of the things that were personal between what had happened and how he felt about it. So I felt close to him, right? And he sort of, and when he did die, it was really a tragedy. But I had worked with Pat Temple, and because I did leather work and belt, guitar straps and stuff like that. It was always a reason to be hanging around in those kind of situations. And because I had this thing, by the way, it was called Longevity John's Cross Country Canine Courier Service and Adventure Tours. So while I paid out here for $75 a month rent, and by the way, the front door, it was a beautiful old door, and where the glass was a sheet of heavy duty plastic, like the wind would move it back and forth.
Right.
And like, why would you, it had a lock on the door, like you're going to use the lock, right? Because you could just push through the plastic.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of the stuff started. Because I did these tours. And what I would do is, I found a way to pick up a car in Montreal, and they would give it to me, and I would drive it back to Vancouver and deliver it, and they would give me $150. But it would have a trip permit on it, so I never paid insurance or anything. So I'd have a vehicle for 10 days to do whatever I wanted to drive across the country. Acura Legends, like all these really nice cars that I would never, being an old hippie, ever have a right to, a possibility of driving.
Yeah.
So it'd be cool. And because you got the trip permit, you never got busted, right? If they pull you over, see the trip permit, go, oh, it's okay.
Yeah.
Right. So, and Canada is such a beautiful country. I highly recommend drive it once in your lifetime. And if you can, try it. I did it probably 20, 30 times at least. Driving across this country, realizing just how vast it is. You don't need to go any other country. We have it all here, right? The landscape across, going through the prairies, Fort Qu'Appelle. Because I lived in Moose Jaw as a young child for a couple of years, I got to go to Fort Qu'Appelle and go to the camp at Camp Tawasi. So that showed me that if you went 10 miles off the road, there was all these beautiful little oases taking place.
Wow. It's crazy. The region across is just changing
pe-
geographically.
because people live there, there must be a reason why they chose to live there. There's something special about that area of the property, not 10 miles down the road. Why did they choose to live there? And all those reasons made it very enjoyable. So for me, I couldn't get enough of that. And plus, I mean, there were times when people would get in the car, you know, I don't know how I'm going to, I got no money, I'm just going to see how I'm going to make it.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like I had a lot of money. I was still independently poor.
Yeah.
Right, there's two things, independently rich and independently poor, right?
Yeah.
Operative word is independent. So having that ability to be independently poor, I didn't care for money.
Yeah.
So it's just however I could make it across, right? And sometimes we'd be picking up hitchhikers or delivering packages that needed to go back and forth, right? Whatever it was. A lot of
Would
people
this
moving.
have been the 70s at this time now?
Well, that was in the 90s.
Okay, this is
Now we've got right ahead since I've been out here.
Yeah.
I came out here in 1988 to the West Coast.
That's the year I was born, John.
Really? Well, far out.
It's a great year.
Oh, it
88.
is. It was a wonderful year for me. It was a full year of expansion where I found myself in a place where I had gotten back together with the mother of my son after I split up with the mother of my two daughters. Willie and I had done a tour. We got out here and we ran into each other. It was love again. And in 3 short months, my son found out why his mom and dad hadn't lived together for 15 years. It did not work. So it left me in southern Alberta not knowing what to do. My friend said, come on out here and help me with firewood. I drove out to the Cowichan Valley, and we had 210 cords of firewood to deliver. So it's already bucked. We had a hydraulic splitter, vertical, so onto the platform, splits it into a conveyor belt onto the truck.
Wow.
The truck fills up 3 cords, you go deliver it. So I got to drive through this valley of the Cowichan Valley in September, mid-September, for 3.5 weeks, all through like the wonderful little areas where people wanted for firewood delivered. So I saw just how beautiful this area is. And I happened to mention to my friend that I wanted, maybe I'll come out here and find a cabin. And within 12 hours, I got told about the other cabin, and so I got it. So all that serendipitous synchronicity that said, go this way, go this way, go this way, happened. Now, this is an interesting part. I'm going to jump way ahead.
Yeah.
Because as we're sitting here and you look over there, you're going to see the theater seats, right?
Yes.
So here I am. I was bringing, because of Willie, I was bringing people in to perform at Vimy Hall, which is a little community hall. They held 100 people, and various other restaurants. I tried to do that, and sometimes, you know, a restaurant would say, "Let's do it," and they'd last 3 months and then get out of it. So there was never any solid place for me to say I could do it. I was doing it at Vimy for a year, where I was the president. I was the guy in charge of renting the venue, and then I rented the venue, and I made sure there was something going on 7 days a week, so everybody could feel like they were a part of it. The neighborhood started to like it because they knew who was there when they were there. The rites of passage of throwing up at 3 o'clock in the morning at Vimy Hall, I wasn't into that at that point. But, you know, and at one point my dad had given me $500 for my 50th birthday, so I went out and bought a $300 cargo parachute just to show him how crazy I was. But it was neat because I could hang that up in the hall, and that would deaden the sound and make it from a cavernous room to a beautiful sounding venue.
Wow.
But that came to an end. Very depressed, not knowing what I was going to do next. I used to go to the Arbutus Cafe just up the street, and I'd have my morning coffee, and Shelley would let me in at 1 minute to 8. She never let anybody else in but me at 1 minute to 8. She was stern about 8 o'clock, right? And that was a wonderful privilege I felt, right? But I'd go in and they would sit in my corner and they'd pour me coffee for about 2.5 hours. And then I'd go out the rest of my business trying to organize events and stuff, right? It was at that time I went in on whatever day it was, and I think it was a Wednesday. She wasn't there, so I had to wait till the other girl would let me in. Where's Shelley? Oh, she scratched a $150,000 the night before.
Like won the lottery?
Won $50,000. So she's, of course, as a waitress, she's not at work.
Yeah.
But what happens is, I immediately go, I sure could have used that money, and I applied it to myself, right? But as I sat there drinking my coffee, I said, no, that's not right. That's her money. It's her life.
Yeah.
That's not money isn't going to solve my problem. That's not what the problem was. And so I let it go. That's when I picked up the Victoria Times Colonist, which I hadn't read for a year. I was reading the Globe Mail. I opened it up and I happened to notice that I wanted to see if they had the free and cheap column, right?
Yeah.
Which they used to have. Oh yes, they still do. Oh look, 150 soft seat theater seats for free. Well, that's great, but even if I had them, I have no place to put them. Right. So I wrote down the number.
Yeah.
And I would do my regular little journey, go out and drink coffee somewhere else, have a few, smoke a bit of pot, go to someone else's house, get all the business done, all the gossip. Then I'd go home, then I'd come back downtown for supper at the Arb, and then I'd go home. That day I got home, and for some reason I remembered that I had the number on me. So I phoned. I got an answering machine. I had to be home at 5:15 when he phoned me. And I was at the house, which other than that, I wouldn't have got the message. I was the first of 17 people that wanted 150 soft seat theater seats for free, but you had to take them all.
Wow.
I was the first in line. $100 deposit, you can get them back, but you can't pick them up until December 26th. This is at the end of November, beginning of December. I can't pick them up till the 26th of December.
So you had 26 days to get a space.
At least. Yeah, so, but anyway, or to own them.
Yeah.
But what happened was, I had to go down there on a really blistery night. I had a 1-ton cargo van, so that was go to Souk to see them. Well, I ended up borrowing a friend's car. The two of us went down. I looked at him, gave him the $100. What it was in was open building in Souk that had a theater basically put in it, right? Of 150 seats. It was what the Kingdom, what the Jehovah's Witnesses were using as a Kingdom Hall.
Right.
They were going to December 31st, move out of that building and start building a new Kingdom Hall. So they needed them out of there. December 25th was a Saturday. So it was the last day they needed them, was the day of their service.
Right.
So on December 26th, now, I grew up believing December 26th was Boxing Day, which is the day after Christmas.
Right.
Right. So I've been kind of telling everyone that I received a Christmas present from Jehovah's Witnesses so I could open up a music venue.
Yeah. So then how did this venue come into your life?
Well, then I had 150, I had a wheel,
Yeah.
and I had to find a car to fit it.
Okay.
So how do you find, what do you do?
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there like, so I had him at a friend's house next door. He had a vacant little cabin. And then that got rented, so I had to move them. Where am I going to put them? So I rented a bin, a C-can, C-can,
Yeah.
and I put them all in there. Now, what am I going to do with them? Well, I better, let's go see if I can get my own venue. Now, remember, I'm paying $75 a month rent, and I'm behind on the rent. But I got these seats, and I'm out there looking for. I had no idea at 53, 2 years old, what business or anything. I'm a leather worker. I've been under my own rules all these years. I don't know how anything else works. So I go out there and I find a spot eventually. And the other guys, Ice Cream, were also doing the same thing to put up their homemade ice cream, who were my neighbors, by the way, down on Gibbons Road. And the worst thing was they made this cream-based ice cream. It was like, I remember.
Isn't that what ice cream is made
yeah,
of?
but no, a custard-based ice cream.
Okay.
It's a custard-based. That's the word I'm using for it.
Yeah.
And I remember having those as a kid. Like, there's just something different in the flavor, right? So they'd make these 1-liter things, and they would give them to me to test out their flavors.
Oh, lucky.
Right, but I didn't really have a fridge.
Yeah.
So they would get really like you could almost drink it, right? So I would have 2 or 3 days, and like I started thinking I was lactose intolerant when in fact it was lactose abuse, right? So I had to quit. But I got anyway. So I digress. They were looking for a place, and I was looking for a place, and we seemed to be looking at the same places.
Okay.
And then there was the Duncan Garage was opening up and being rebuilt and redeveloped, and so they ended up taking one spot. I took another spot. But a couple of weeks in, the landlord said, "Oh, I need a guarantee. Either I need another $5,000 or a cosigner." Well, I don't know anybody who could cosign. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I'll jump hurdles, but this is a new hurdle I can't figure out.
Right.
So I'm sitting in the Arbutus. They come in and say, "How's it going?" I said, "Well, I had this problem," And I tell them. So they're sitting across the aisle from me, and I'm sitting over away. And all of a sudden they call me over and they said, what if we signed for you?
The ice cream neighbors.
Yeah. And I said, well, you don't even know me. He says, yeah, but we've been watching you. We've been having breakfast with you for the last 3-4 months every morning. And there's just something that says this is right. So they co-signed for me.
Wow.
And I walked back in, so, and enough about that guy.
Yeah.
But it was cool to have those people have faith in me. So it was just another step. We're not talking about serendipitous synchronicity. This is also through sobriety. So the steps that are going through are like, can we do this? Can we do this? So as it's been going along, it's been opening up more and more and more for my involvement in music, to the point of now we run a 39-day music festival with over 355 slots in it this year. This is our 13th year. We run another 250 to 300 shows in the Duncan Showroom when we're finished that. I ran into a guy, we call him Dr. Ted Cadillac, along the way, who, after I had a stroke 16 days before the third festival, he got a hold of my partner George and said, hey, I can help John. We know about each other, but we've never met. So he picked me up from rehab in Nanaimo after being in there for a week and a half to get all my functions back. And we came down and he started working. And 4 days into the festival, I put a headband and said, would you please stay in our tribe?
Wow.
And he's been here all along. So between the two of us, both having the same kind of attitude towards how we feel about money or about where music sits, we've been able to put this little magical thing together, which is the 39 Days of July 13th time.
So the original Duncan Showroom actually was in the garage?
It was in the garage. That's why people still call it the garage or the Duncan Garage or the showroom.
Garage.
We were one of the first businesses in there when the Duncan Garage Cafe opened up in July. We opened up September 22nd.
Okay.
Was our very first performance.
Wow. And then when did it move into this venue?
We lasted there 10 years till November 30th. And this is the funny thing. November 30th, I got evicted. This is a whole other story.
Yeah.
I got evicted. So where am I going to go? It turns out that Dr. Ted Cadillac had a venue in Harrison Hot Springs called the Layback Lounge. He closed it on November 30th, the same day. Right. So when we found out about these synchronicities afterwards, right? And so a lot of musicians who do come through are people that have already worked with him in another situation, right? So, what was the question again?
About this place now that we're in.
So anyway, that took 10 years.
Yeah.
Someone heard that we were having to leave a bar, so the guy wanted me to help his bar out. So he hired me at the wage that it was costing me to put on what I was doing. He was going to pay me to do that.
Yeah.
And a hotel room. And me with 11 dogs. Pomeranian Shih Tzu Terriers. No, I had this whole
11?
No, so we moved to this hotel, and I said, I got to move a few things with me. So I had two sea cans, a motorhome, another old trailer that we took everything out and just made it a dog house for the dogs, right? All with their own little couple holes and all that. And then a school bus.
Wow.
And a hotel room. That didn't last about 3 months. But at that point, someone who believed in me, and someone I never thought would at that point. And again, those people who step forward and give you, I don't think they really realize how important they are in changing your life because of their belief in you. Said, look, I think I found a place for you. You got to open up another showroom. You got to do it. And he hardly came to shows, but he was just one of those guys that he saw what was going on.
Yes.
So we located upstairs in an old Chinese restaurant, that everyone knew about. So everything's already there. Basically, we just rearranged the shape of it, put a stage up there for 60 people, 65 people. With, again, rake seating, a little bit lower, but they had that stairs, right, of a Chinese restaurant. A lot of my customers couldn't make it, but we did that for a year. No, we did it from April. We opened up May 1st, and we went through till August, when I found out the guy down here, who wasn't getting along well with his landlord, and there was leaks going on and all sorts of stuff, that he decided to call it quits, but he wasn't going to tell the landlord. for a couple of days. But I caught wind of it. And it happened to be a day or 2 days before my 65th birthday.
Wow.
Right? Now, when I turn 65, I get old age pension.
That's right.
Now, at this point in time, for living space, having lived at the garage and had a building next door, we had to leave there too, so we were up in turmoil, right? But we found a place for $500 a month in Cal Bay. Ended up being $650 because I had all this extra stuff that the guy didn't know about. And that was great for 7-8 years. It became rat infested and everything, but we lived there. Things have changed up, and we were, again, serendipitous, synchronistic. We have a beautiful little place up on Cook's Island, off Cook's Island, by the Kinsel Trestle. But anyway,
then you moved down here.
So when I knew that my old age pension of $650 was going to cover the rent there, that was enough for me to say, well, let's sign the lease. Again, I got no money.
Yeah.
And I got no idea.
Yeah.
There's a $50,000 wall on the outside, behind that curtain over there, that had to go in for the building inspector to allow this to happen, to have an occupancy level of 80 people. In case anything happened, this building, which is over 100 years old, the second floor is supported so it wouldn't come down like this. It would come on an angle so people would survive in case of an earthquake. All this is riverbed, right? So it's all built on sand. It's an interesting thing, this whole area of town and everything. Being the oldest building, it's kind of cool. The oldest brick building, right?
Well, this place is amazing. There's so much character to it. I see the original seats. We have all this memorabilia here.
Well, the funny thing is that the theater, the actual movie theater, was next door.
Okay.
So if people come in here think this is the theater.
Yeah.
Well, is this the old theater? No. Yeah. But I understand that too, because Bartholomew's in Ottawa was an old theater with the balcony and everything, and that became a great music venue in Ottawa. And I remember, like, in my 30s, going up and sitting in one spot and going, oh my God, this is where I watched Around the World in 80 Days when I was 9 years old with my grandfather.
Wow.
I remember sitting there and I went,
yeah.
No, because it had changed so much, because now it was a live music venue, with the stage was where the screen was and all that.
That movie actually, and it was originally a book, right?
Yes.
It has gone through so many adaptations. There's even a version with Jackie Chan. Have you seen
I
that?
heard that.
One?
No, I haven't. I've heard about it. Yeah.
I've seen it, and actually, how I even got put on to knowing about Around the World in 80 Days is because somebody created like a interactive choose your own adventure app game on the cell phone that you literally have 80 days on your phone to go and try to go around the world, and so it tells you a story, you choose which path, and then it leads you another step. You could go to the North Pole. Like, at some point, some people accidentally die in the game. It's hilarious.
I have a hard time getting to Victoria, let alone Maple Bay or Chemainus.
Yeah.
I'm content in this valley.
Yeah.
No, that's cool that they can do that.
Yeah.
And that's the whole other thing. I can't state how glad that I got to live at the time that I have lived. I'm coming up my 26th annual 50th birthday, right? And trust me, I believe that it's a mind thing. How old you think you are, right? You just don't let the old guy in, is what his name says. Clint Eastwood says that. You just don't let the old guy in every day, right? I had a wonderful comment today. I hadn't seen this person for 4 or 5 years, and he said, God, you're looking younger now than you did when the last time I saw you. I said, well, that's because of music. I'm subjected to live music, and not just cover bands. I'm talking about originality.
Yeah.
Where an original. I mean, we've got to really support this. So many people benefit. I'm not saying that the hip hop thing isn't cool, or I saw a festival where everyone's pumping, and it's boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
Go into the singer-songwriters. Last night we had Kaylee Jade play in the City Square as part of the 39 Days of July. So there's mainstream people are coming because they don't know what they're coming to listen to because most of it's original, right? But they give it a try. So when you get an applause, if it's or it's boisterous, that lets you know whether or not you've affected the person that you're performing for. So I talked to a few of the elders, they're in their 50s, 60s. So they're not really they're the buying public, but they're not the hip scene, so to speak. We all like to think that the hip scene's back in that younger years. But right now, I think there's more hip people out there. Well, at least I'm trying to teach them how to be hip. Listen to this shit, you'll love it.
Yeah.
This is great music, right? Yeah. The other day, I had this wonderful thing at the festival. I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
Doc Fingers, an amazing kid. The more I get to know him, he's kind of aggressive at first, but the more I get to know him, he's a wonderful gentleman, right? In the music business. He's been in it a long time as a keyboard player, so he's played lounges, he's done all that stuff, right? He's seen it from every end. In the book he could write. He wanted to do a duo. I said, well, okay, who are you going to bring? He said, I want to get Wayne Kozak. Well, him and Wayne hadn't played on stage together for 52 years. Right? And they got on stage and they started doing this musical conversation.
Ooh.
Like it's in another language. And it was like not necessarily like there's the given, like we go here, we go there, and then when we get into this improvisational spot and then we come back, all that's a given. But where you go in those moments depends upon where the moment is.
For sure.
Right? And they had brought along this trumpet player too, which younger, who egged them on. So it was just such a wonderful in the moment experience. You could almost feel yourself sitting up straighter. You could feel yourself feeling more vibrant, right? Because of the music you were listening to, because it was in the moment.
Yeah.
And that's, for anyone who's watching right now, if you went to Duncan Showroom and you went to YouTube, for example, and punched in Duncan Showroom, we have our own channel for all our videos. Now we started broadcasting back at the garage on another channel. But they didn't archive it as well. So we ended up about 11 years ago. We started going to YouTube. So we go all the way back. Long before COVID, we were broadcasting because we're living in a small community, right? I'm ringing in. It would be hard pressed for this to exist in Toronto. There's so much going on as one venue, right? Let alone in a small town of supposedly 5,000 with a circular population of up to 60, 70,000 you might be able to draw upon. But how many of those people, when everyone in the valley lives on 2 and 3 acre and 5 acre lots, I mean, they're going home. Why are they coming back out again, right? So how do we get that music to spread out still so they have an understanding? Once you've heard, you might say, I want to go see that person live. And you don't have to go to Vancouver. You don't have to, it's right here in Duncan,
right
at a little
here.
60-seat place. But what we were offering up was that if you're not going to make a lot of money, at least you have to walk away from here with the experience, because this is one of the better sounding rooms. And I only say this because I hear it from every performer who comes here, from wherever they've traveled. And they've traveled around the world playing all these wonderful venues. And they always come back and say, this is the venue that we find the most unique and one of the most comfortable. It's got something special about it. We created it, but that's not what it's about. It's about the fact that it does exist, that these moments can take place as often as possible. That's why we work 7 days a week if we can. We try, we promote, encourage, light fires wherever we can. If someone comes here and gets a video done, and we split the door so that, if they don't make money, we don't make money. If we make money, we all split the money. We're just transparent as you can be. But the whole concept is to seed the arts. It's the arts that, the revolution still exists, and the arts are part of the way that will keep the world going in a proper way and in a great direction. And that's why I can have the passion for what it is I do, because it's not just having a music venue. It's not to make money. It's to change the damn world. You know what I'm saying? Make it work.
Yes.
And right now at this 39 days of July, there's people sitting down there. They smile at each other. They've never, they may have been down there 2 or 3 times, and they go, oh, look, that person's still down here, or this person's over here. Because it's free to the public. There's just so much community building that goes on, that it's not about it's about the music, because the music is what the vehicle is.
Yes.
It creates a situation where all of this can take place, right? And for that, live music is, what can I say? I love it.
Was there an inciting incident or moment where you're like, this festival needs to be created? Or that did Duncan even have anything like that
Remember I told you
before?
that I got to see Elvis Presley when I was 7? That was cool.
Yeah.
The next major moment is I went to Place des Arts when we moved to Montreal, and it had just opened up in, I think, in '64, and I got to go see Harry Belafonte.
Whoa.
Now, in a room full of people, that many people, I felt like there was maybe 10 of us that were getting what he was doing. And even at that age of 13, right, I had a feeling, I had this weird feeling of connection to what was the energy level that was going on, right? Who was actually getting it. I knew not everyone in the room was getting it. You could feel that. But the ones that were on the journey with him, right? I'm like, wow, this is great. And then my mother remarried, or we had remarried, so my new grandmother, who, by the way, that's her up on the mantle. We had our moments of disagreement, but I want her to always know where I am now. So I put her up on the mantle all the time so you can watch every day. And it's great because I have a cousin who's living here now who's in his 80s, and we both had the same experiences with her, right? So he's the one who brought me the picture. So it's kind of neat to deal with her. But she took me to Toronto when I was 14 and took me to the Royal Alex to see McScrooge, or Scrooge, and that was in the round. Like they have a circular stage.
Oh, wow.
That wasn't round, but it had a revolving stage.
Yeah.
Musical. I'd never seen a musical. And then she took me to see the Fantastics at the opening week at the Toronto Public Library with Bruno Gerussi as the narrator. Wow. Then off to Stratford to see Henry V and VI. Wow. Not only that, she lived 5 blocks away from Yorkville.
Oh, yes.
On Rocks, wherever the street is.
Yeah.
Roxborough. And so she would put on her little eye shades and her ear things at 10 o'clock at night and go to sleep. And I would walk out the door and go down to Yorkville and hang out till 4 o'clock in the morning with all the hippies and where all the music scene was, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, those moments stayed in my life too, right? Along the way.
And then being here, what inspired starting 39 Days of July?
39 Days of July.
Yeah.
'Cause
that was 13 years ago,
I'll try and make it quick.
Yeah.
There's a train station where it runs right now, right?
Right.
That whole park area was being overrun by ne'er-do-wells. A lot of drinking going on. You drove into town, that's what you saw. No one cared. They put on Zamfir on the speaker system, but all it did was piss me off, right? And a few other people in town.
Yeah.
So the festival had been abandoned at a 10-day festival at the 30th anniversary, got abandoned. Myself and the treasurer decided to grab it and see what we could do, so we put it back up. So we did a 10-day festival. The next year, I looked at the park and I went, I want to try something. So we moved it into a 16-day festival in the park, right? And got those people to be included and not excluded. We went in with the attitude of inclusiveness, not exclusiveness.
Yes.
That worked really well. They became helpful for me. There was a time when, at that time era, we had a Children's Day, so we had to block off the park with snow fence and only have 3 entrances and exits just in case.
Yeah.
There was a scare going on at that time. So that would have been like 15 years ago, 16 years ago, right? So I had to put that fence around. It was those people that I had excluded, or would have been excluded, got together, met me behind the garage, grabbed all the stuff that needed to come down without me using a truck, and they found out who they could work with, all 21 of them, right? And put the fence up by 10 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
I could never have asked my board of directors to do that. And then I gave them some money, here, go get some bingo, and they went down, hung out at the river, and came back at 4 o'clock to help me take it down. I said, there's going to be kids here. I don't want to see you all messed up around the kids. No problem, John. And because of my sobriety, because I knew where they were, we were able to converse, right? So I became friends with them. And it's changed quite a bit now as to who's in the town. Like all those guys and gals, they died. They've died off. I didn't know. So after the 16 days, the next year was the centennial year. And the person in charge, I didn't believe was going to make it as special as it could be for 100th anniversary.
Yeah.
So I went the whole month of July. What a great idea.
Yeah.
And then I went, the next year I went, everyone's going, well, if you went from 10 to 16 to 20 to 31, what are you going to do next? Well, I'll go from long weekend to long weekend.
Yeah.
And trust me on this one, it was like, I think at least 4 days in before I decided to count the number of days that was. I was going to go from the Friday till the Monday, right?
Yeah.
I counted it. It added up to 39 days. I said, oh, what a magical number, right? You could, like, I would never have thought, like the 39 didn't come first, it was second.
Yeah.
Along the way, it came down. So once you got that 39 days, that's cool. And then you start figuring out that's 13 3-day festivals. So there's all sorts of little magic numbers going on.
Yeah.
And it so happens that 3 years ago we celebrated the 13th because we thought it was, when in fact it wasn't, right? So the next year because it was all sorts of magic, and I made it a big special, right? And then found out that the next year was last year was the 13th. So we did the 12th last year, because we didn't want to have to do bigger than the 13th. We could still do the 12th. The expectations wouldn't be as big.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so we celebrated the 12th and told everyone what had happened. Well, this year, I swear to this happened.
Yeah.
One of the original sound tech that helped me came back to town, and we figured it out, and this year's the 13th.
Officially?
No, this is the 3rd annual attempt at the 13th annual. Because remember, I have the 26th annual 50th birthday.
Yes.
Right, so everything, you just sort of leave it there and say, well, just keep on doing it.
Yeah.
So from here on in, next year will be the 4th annual 13th.
That's so, I actually did not clock that until you explained this whole story.
Yeah,
that
well,
is
see,
amazing.
it's all those little things that go on. You sort of and they start adding up. You go, I don't know which came first or not, but now that we know that they exist, it's pretty hard to deny them, right?
Yeah. Well, now that it's been going on for so long, basically, what do you feel you've seen as the impact on Duncan and on the people in the community?
It's pretty. I can't imagine not doing it. The moment I'm going to have to say I'm not going to do it, it's going to be a hard time. And I don't think there's anybody out there willing to do it. I don't think there's anybody. Because it's not a financial, you're not getting paid.
It's not a financial endeavor.
No, like, so you gotta be quick on your feet. You gotta be a survivor. You gotta be able to live anyway. Like, I'm in a position to do it. I don't know if anybody else would be in a position to do it. Again, the operative word being independent. So the longevity of it is, and I tell it every year, is that it's a given, not a. It's a. How do I put it? It's a gift, not a given. Every year, I don't know if it's going to be there next year. There's a lot of things that got to take place. My rent's going up again in January. I got to come up with at least $5,000 a month rent here for a year before I can do the festival again, because you can't do the festival without this being here. So it's a 24/7 involvement, and we can only hope that we can manifest it again next year. But I try to tell everyone, you live in the moment. And if there's anything that the festival teaches anybody, is be in the moment. Being in the moment allows you to leave the past in the past and not worry about the future. Just be in the moment. And the music that happens in the park every day allows that to happen. And I see it every day, people who are going through grief. A lady last year lost her husband or partner just prior to the festival. And she came up to me this year and said, if it hadn't been for the festival, I don't think I could have got through. So just being able to hang out with other people and grieve in my own way, and know that there's a community that laughed together, that smiled together, that just hung out together without knowing each other, was so comforting that it solved her problems. the number of people that I'm not saying the whole world, but there's been a lot of people who've moved to Duncan because of that festival. Accidentally stopping in while looking, young couples looking for a place to buy, where to settle, coming to a community where it appears to be committed to the arts as much as it is. Don't forget, we got a 731-seat theater. It's got the largest dance floor in BC for touring dance troupes. Like it's an awesome, awesome facility that's here, and and they put on a lot of shows too. But they need people to go to shows. That's the whole thing. Again, it's only as good as the audience. So if you're not a performer, but you want to be part of that scene and that family, you've got to be an audience. That is just as important as everything else is. And we're so rich in this community. We have a visual arts component, which is, wow, like when I first got here 2 years in, I got to be the president of the Arts Council, not even knowing what a board of directors was or what Robert's rules or anything was. So I'm lucky that I learned what I did. But I came in with the idea of extravaganza, and I don't like to do things, So we took over this one big center and had this wonderful art show that was huge, went over really well. The next year we had sold so much art, it was just wonderful. It made everyone proud to be an artist. Have pride in what it is you do, right? And that's one of the things that Duncan's been able to do. We've taken it from Drunken Duncan to a rather fun place to be.
Yes.
And I forgot to mention that.
Yes.
Years ago, I sat in a restaurant with my good friend Rob McKenzie, who does all of our cover art and all this stuff. And he said that he said, I was born here, I grew up here. I left, I came back, I raised a family, bought a house. And he says, I just don't like the idea that it's, everyone calls it Drunken Duncan. It's more than that.
Yeah.
He says, it's a rather fun place to be. And I went, oh, and he says, yeah, the word rather is what makes it.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, it does. So we talked about it. I said, let's do something with that. So we started using it with the festival, right? And that became, we're going to change how people view the valley.
Yeah.
So now we've got a whole generation that's growing up believing they live in a rather fun place to be instead of Drunken Duncan.
That's amazing. You've rebranded and just changed the whole thing.
They just paid a whole mess of money to have this town rebranded.
Yeah.
With all this advertising, and we did it for next to nothing. But at least they don't dictate what we have to do, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm getting away. I'm not afraid to admit that we're getting away with a lot, but we're not getting away with a lot. Yeah. It's just that we're proving that we're not to be afraid of. That we have the best interests of the community at heart as well. So the things that we do, they didn't want the 39-day festival, but I got people to write in to the council and say, this is great, hope we do it again.
Yes.
They can't stop it. They've had to include us. They've had to see the benefits of it. And that's what part of the revolution is about, right? You do not have, your actions speak louder than your words. Get out there and activate yourself. Start doing things, Yeah.
Man, John, when I was here like a week and a half ago, and I ended up, again, a moment of serendipity, because when I was asking friends like who I know are from the island, who should I interview if I'm heading out there? And one friend who used to live here was like, you should try to see if you can find Long John. And I was like, wait a second, I know this person, I met this person. Fast forward, I was at the Duncan garage, at the cafe, and I overheard a man say something, John, and I look up, and there you were.
There we were.
And I was like, hey, are you Long John? You're like, why, yes, I am. And then I was like, do you remember me? You're like, actually, I do. And so then you ended up telling me about the festival, and then invited me and my friend Jamal that night to come back and see, Nicholas Campbell. And one thing that I found so remarkable about being on the city square stage was, I arrived right when he was going up to perform his first song, and the first song that he played, all these people got up right away and just hit the dance floor. And that, out of all my years, I'm only 37 years young, but of all my years of going to parties and shows and live concerts, I have not seen that. There's only a handful of times that I have seen people without hesitation, without the performer being like, all right, don't be shy, come on up. They always have to say that to try to coax people in. It was like, I was like, wow, Duncan knows how to get down.
Well, yeah. But also,
Yeah.
a friend of mine years ago, Daisy DeBolt, bless her soul, she's passed away, but she went up to play it on Denman Island, and there was she said, John, they were dancing right away. I said,
Yes.
Daisy, they dance at poetry readings up there. You know, like
Yeah.
you got to know where you are
Yeah.
before you go judging whether or not this is good or not.
Yeah.
It was interesting, but you know, people dance to Hallelujah if it's played on there. Like there's always a contingent that want to dance, and they'll dance regardless. But it's been great because knowing that, for example, we have Walkabout Wednesday, so there's 2 shows. Minuscule is going to be on tomorrow night, for example, and that's a 6-piece with 5-part harmonies.
Oof.
You know, trying to show that choral can be different. Right, be in the moment. It can be modernized. It's not choral isn't what you thought it was. It can be modernized. So they're bringing that aspect to it, and then so that's more of a concert. It's a listening concert. The second show is what's her name? I gotta remember her name. Anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, Moonshine's on. Hey, turns out it's Gordy Lightfoot's daughter.
Oh, wow.
You know.
And that's tomorrow.
Tomorrow night. But so those will be concerts in the city square.
Yeah. What's happening tonight?
Tonight is a dance band, Sugar Nifty.
Oh yeah. That's the Celtic one.
The Celtic 6-piece band.
Yeah.
You know, designed to make you dance. So tonight it'll be like from the moment they start, whoop. You know, because they've already played the folk festival, so people know who they are. And they will come up with expectations. But we had the marimba the other night. Right off the bat, the dance floor was full. You know, one year the whole thing is there's no formula, right? The formula is introduce people to new music, however you can, right? So a lot of people come out just to find out. The other night we played Chase the Bear. 2/3 of the audience didn't like it. They were older.
Yeah. It
was too loud for them. For the ones who stayed, loved it.
Yeah.
And and now they're huge fans, Chase the Bear fans. We did the the Relics, and it's a tribute to early Pink Floyd.
Okay.
And I watched people get up. Yeah. And it was great during the tribute ones because I keep on forgetting that I'm coming up 75. That all the people I'm dealing with are also in the same age, right? Age brackets. So they all grew up with this kind of music. They're up dancing. And to see couples and then go, hold it, those people have been together 40, 50 years. They're going back in their time. And in front of everybody, they're going back and living those moments again because we created it. It's an overwhelming burden to witness what goes on because it's just there's so many beautiful moments in the 39 days of July. And again, it's back to live music, original music.
Yes.
You know, if you go down the channel and you try to narrow it into it, that's where it is. And tune in. All our shows are broadcast, even our open mic, and our open mic gets 400 views in 2 days.
Wow.
Open mic. And I've had people who stalwart players, right, maybe get 100 views. You know, but these, for whatever reason, tune in, have some fun. I tell jokes too.
He does.
Sometimes.
I was taking notes when you were emceeing last. I was like quite impressed. You
Well,
just know how to go off the cuff.
Oh yeah, you got to go off the cuff because
That's life.
That's my forte. I can shoot from the hip.
Well, John, our hour is pretty much gone by.
I can't believe it. Just
You know.
don't get me started. Where's that button? How do you turn this off?
Is there any last words you want to say to the peoples out there?
Support live music whenever you can. Be part of the audience. Let the audience. When you go to social media, there's a little thing called like. There's so much you can do to help change the world, and find the musicians that work for you the best. Support them. Not necessarily, there's always the financial aspect, so they can continue doing what they do. but in all other ways. Turn them on to other people. Let other people know the experiences you have, and share it. Smile. Say hi to someone you've never said hi to. Once a day, at least smile at someone you've never smiled at before. Trying to make conversation. Let's make this community a larger community. That's how we get to be a much more better place to live.
Yes, and how we can have some longevity.
That's how we can have some longevity.
Shout out to everybody who's been watching the live stream, the replay after. We appreciate you. My name is Kazi. This is the one and only Longevity John, aka official new title, Lordgevity John. And y'all have been watching Beats, Eats, and More.